welcome to Delightful! Today we tackle the color orange in our Rainbow Candy Doll series. Orange is my favorite flavor when it comes to sweets. Don't tell the other dolls. I approached the design process much in the same way I did with cherry. Let's jump right in! First was the great gathering of reference images of all things orange. Naturally, I'm biased towards what I remember liking as a kid, so obviously a lot of American sweets and whatnot, but I did try to Google around and find inspiration outside my country as well. I don't want to disappoint any international viewers. After the inspiration board was made, I used it as a reference to draw up a character. Much like how I didn't want Cherry to look too Christmassy with her red theme, I don't want the orange doll to look too Halloweeny with the orange theme. However, Halloween is a big part of the candy industry, so I can't just ignore it. I hope you agree that the candy corn design elements are just the right level of recognition. You can probably tell I mostly focused on the orange fruit aspect of it, with references to various candies and packaging worked into her clothes. Let's start the doll! I knew I had to use an Ever After High doll for their very round heads, and this doll had the most orange tinted skin tone, so I chose Raven for this project. Yes, the round head and round orange bob is all on purpose to make her look like an orange. Gushers style. Okay, maybe not that far. As always, we strip the base down to its bare components so that we can start with a blank canvas. I've put details of how to do that on screen if you're curious, or if you're a new viewer and haven't seen me do this before. If you are a new viewer, welcome to our odd little artsy corner of YouTube where dismembering dolls has become second nature. No wait, don't click off. With the body all prepared, the first step in rebuilding the doll can begin, rooting the hair. I dug through my supplies, and the closest match I had was this beautiful color from dollyhair.com. The hanks I have are pretty short, but that works out for this character because she's got a very short haircut. Quite fortuitous. Now, my preferred hair type is nylon. I almost always use nylon, but this is something else. It's Kanekalon hair, which I have much less experience with. After marking and poking new holes for the bangs, I pinch off a small clump of hairs from the hank, fold it in half, and slip it onto the needle eye. Poke it into a hole, and that's one plug done. Do that 100 or 200 more times and your doll has hair. How many holes are there on a typical doll head, do you reckon? I've never actually counted, and I'm not going to. Here are some things I noticed about Kanekalon hair. It feels more prone to static, it's a very fine fiber, so it feels grabby. And for this reason, I found it much easier to work with if I wet the hair before plugging it in. It also tends to break and snap if I'm too rough with the needle, so it requires a delicate hand. And lastly, it must be said that this fiber feels incredibly soft. It feels quite different from nylon hair. Maybe more realistic. Keep the part and bangs separated with twist ties, then pour glue into the head and goosh it around to coat all those loose hair plugs on the inside. Let that dry overnight, and the next day you can draw what we call in the business a face-up. Start by tucking away the hair and pinning it around the hairline to mask the face. It's almost like the doll's going to the spa. Before we can start drawing the face, we need to prep the surface by spraying the doll with Mr.Super Clear UV Sealant. This stuff is specifically designed to give tooth to a slippery plastic-like surface like a doll's face or like Gundam models and stuff. With my concept art in view, I start by sketching out the rough eye shapes and placing the eyebrows. My eyebrows used to be a lot more wonky, but with practice, I think I've gotten better at keeping them even. It only took me like 8 years. Ever After High doll's facial molds aren't very prominent around the eyes, which means I have more artistic liberty to draw any eye shape I want. Of course, we want big, round, orange-shaped eyes. I start off with lighter oranges and browns, then begin laying in the darker colors as I gain confidence with the drawing. I drew these simplified dot eyelashes in the concept art, but on the actual doll they looked clunky. I didn't like them. So I tried to erase them, and I think I had to resort to acetone to get them all the way back off. Oops. She's got orange slices on her cheeks, as well as a blue and green dot just to break up the monotony of orange. Once you've hit the limit on one layer, spray the doll again with the Mr. Super Clear, and then you can build up more color. I don't show it in the video, but I generally spray the doll's face about 3 times or so during the face up. While we're watching the face up, leave a comment telling me about what candy you liked as a child but can't stand the sight of now. I was just thinking about how I would scarf down a bag of circus peanuts when I was a kid. It was like a special treat my parents would get me when we stopped by the gas station. I remember loving them, but like, just the thought of eating any flavored marshmallow now as an adult, just, ugh. Do y'all have anything like that? With the addition of dark browns to bring contrast to her pupils, lashes, and eyebrows, and the final white highlight, I think we can call the face up complete. One final spray of sealant later, and we can take the hair down. Oh, she looks really cute with the long hair too. I almost don't want to cut it. Oh, I always love long hair. I learned my lesson with Cherry that I should wait to style the hair until the very end because the bangs and curls are very difficult to control. So let's give her a rough cut and set her aside for now. Let's switch to her outfit. First things first with the clothes, I worked up the pattern pieces in Photoshop. A lollipop here, a candy orange slice there. I may have gotten carried away painting the gummy bear. I had a lot of fun with it, but it probably didn't need to look that good. Keeping the pattern piece fronts and backs oriented correctly in my mind was a bit challenging. I had to double check to make sure everything would line up once it was sewn together, including the seam allowance space. Pattern making really bends the old bean. But eventually everything was ready to send off to the printers. And after a month or two, a package arrived with all the doll clothes I had prepared for this series, custom printed on the fabrics I needed. The print quality came out very sharp for something so small. I didn't have high hopes, but was pleasantly surprised. Look at the little gummy bears. The baggy cargo pants are actually taken straight from my pattern that's for sale on Etsy. I didn't need to make a new pattern for this doll, thank goodness. It's always a relief when I can pull from my existing library. Baggy jeans are so in right now. As a character designer, I love the bottom-heavy silhouette they cut, and I find myself wearing them in real life all the time. The addition of cargo pockets gives the design even more interest, and of course, with our candy-themed doll, the pockets are starbursts. I wish I could have used real starburst wrappers on her jeans for authenticity's sake, but I couldn't find any where I live. So I manufactured some fakes that look pretty convincing. Perhaps starbursts haven't found their way to Korea because the fruit chew niche has been filled by maichu. Anyway. I got out the air dry clay to make candy corn and also modify some shoes. Yep, these are those miniature shoe keychains they sell at the convenience store downtown from where I live. They pair so well with the baggy jeans, you guys. You've seen me use them before. I don't know what I'll do if they ever stop selling these. I tried to find some online and they were way more expensive. These are like $3 a pop. Anyway, I sculpted an orange hard candy on top to match my concept art. If my Google searches are to be believed, these are an Indian hard candy. I'm sure you'll let me know if that's right in the comments. I've seen similar candies being sold at like fancy coffee shops here in Korea. After the clay has been painted with acrylics, coat the candies with varnish to protect the paint. A big statement piece in this doll's design is her ridiculous orange bag, which we'll be making out of these materials here. First, I stack up 3 pieces of craft foam to form the base. I just happen to have craft foam in the color orange. As always, I try to use up materials I just have in the studio. I've kept the functionality of doll bags in the past, but it's not like I ever open them up and actually use them, right? So what's the point really? That used to matter more to me, like having the little object be a perfect miniature and actually functional, but I don't know. This looks just as good, right? And who's gonna know? Besides everyone watching this video. I picked up some doll-sized plastic buckles online, but to be honest, they're still too big. At least for 7-inch fashion dolls, they look too big. But I still decided to use them. Let's stick on the candy corn. Oh, that looks fantastic! The gap on the top looked empty and awkward though, so I glued on a zipper to fill the space and make it look more like a real bag. Can you imagine having this thing in real life? You could never set it down on the floor. I guess you'd have to hang it up. And you might could use it as like an impromptu weapon if you swung it around. The visor was tricky, but I think I've got a good design. Simply sew 2 wedges together, turn right sides out, stick a piece of cardstock in there to shape the bill, and then glue or sew it shut. Unlike a real hat, the doll's visor will be kept in place with pins through the temples because it is very hard to get things to stay on a doll's head. This doll also has gloves. What can I say? I'm partial to that Pokemon trainer aesthetic. I have some stretchy orange knit from an old pair of tights that will be perfect for this. I sew 2 tight tubes, turn them right sides out, and slip in the doll's hands. Sew it closed by the thumb, then turn over the fabric to form a cuff, and stitch it down. Simple, but cute. I paint the palms white as a reference to this gummy candy here. Ah, I've saved the hardest garment for last, the clear plastic hoodie. Over the past months, I've saved various things from the recycle bin just for this purpose, and I'm thinking this thick plastic packaging from a set of curtains we bought the other day is the perfect material. So I harvest that, then cut out the pieces and get to sewing. What's it like sewing something that's clear? Well, let's just say I had to recut more than a couple pattern pieces because I kept losing them. Also, you don't want to poke holes through the plastic so pins are out. I landed on using binder clips to pinch the pieces in place while I sewed. It was not easy. I'm still not sure how I managed to attach the sleeve, to be honest. And I don't fancy turning the sleeve tube like I usually do, so instead I sewed them right sides out from the get-go by carefully hand stitching using the ladder stitch. A real hood like this won't allow for the doll's gigantic cartoon head to squeeze through the hoodie, so as a compromise I split the hood piece in half and I'll just sew it together in the back once it's on the doll. Here I am threading the pull string through the bottom hem. Once I pull that tight over the doll, it really looks like a candy wrapper. It's so cute. Here's the hoodie. I don't know if it came across in the video, but this is one of the most difficult things I've had to sew. At least it turned out really good. Worth it. And now, with all the clothes done, it's time to style the hair. I can't put it off any longer. I've been more scared than usual about this doll's hair because 1, short hairstyles are the hardest to style, 2, she's got bangs and you know about my track record there, and 3, it's a type of hair I haven't worked with much, so I don't even know if it styles well. Only one way to find out. I just need to hold the doll's hair in like this to make a subtle curve. It seems like it should be easy. After mulling it over, I decided to try something new and shape the doll's hair with tin foil. I mold a rounded donut shape to place underneath the hair. Then pinch the hair over the donut to force it in place with another sheet of tinfoil. That's stage 1. Come with me. Hello, welcome to my shower. I pour boiling water over the doll's head to coax all the hair down, and hopefully into the tinfoil curler. Back to the table. I spread the bangs apart while they're still hot and wet, then mush them down with another tinfoil sheet. Finally, we're going to place her in the freezer for an hour. The temperature difference from hot to cold supposedly sets the hairstyle. I set a timer this time because if memory serves, the last time I tried this, I forgot about the doll and she stayed in there overnight. That was my Eevee doll, ages ago. Moment of truth. It worked! It worked really well! It may poof out a bit once it's dry, but it still looks really cute. I'm happy with that. Unfortunately, the face-up suffered a bit, so I'll have to do some touching up. As useful and perfect as gouache paint is for a face-up, I have noticed that it tries to run if you boil perm the hair. Sometimes, not every time. But, so be warned if you use a lot of gouache on your dolls like I do. But the damage wasn't too bad, so I'm gonna touch it up with acrylic paint so that I don't have to spray Mr. Super Clear again. Acrylic basically dries into a plastic, so you don't need to spray it. And hey, while we're here, let's add some sugar crystals to those eyes. It's glitter. Alright gang, let's combine all the components and see the finished doll. Say hello to Clementine! Combining summery citrus orange with Halloween candy orange was a challenge, but I think I pulled it off. Among all the customs I've made using the round-headed Ever After High dolls, Clementine is my best one for sure. Instead of fighting the unique head shape, I embraced it, and it works so well. I also quite enjoy how this doll comes across personality-wise. She looks sweet and friendly, but the spiky candy corn gives her a slight edge that implies she's got sass too. Or at least enough confidence to pull off this wild outfit, you know? Thank you so much for joining me for the second color in the rainbow. Yellow is up next, and you can tell from the silhouette that she's gonna be good. See you then. Stay artsy. Annyeong. Delightful has merchandise! T-shirts and stuff. It's really cool. I drew everything myself. Here's the cocktail trio of dolls on a t-shirt that's perfect for summer. I've got stickers and a hat too. Feel free to browse at delightful.shop. Thanks! Okay, bye!